yours.
Getting better, huh?
When it stops, we ready?
It's ready.
Oh, it's ready.
It'll stop.
You ready? Okay. Good evening, all. Welcome to Town Board, Lake Luzerne Special Board Meeting, July Workshop Meeting, July 18th, 2022. Please rise and salute the flag. Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilman Hanlon,
Here.
Councilman Lewandowski,
Here.
Councilman Fazio,
Here.
Councilman Niles,
Here.
Supervisor Molino.
Here. All right, we're just gonna open the board and discussion on the Part Bs. Anybody want to bring anything up? Get started on this. Anybody on the board want to make any suggestions or move on to things?
I made up a little chart with two columns. And one column is health insurance, one column is Part B reimbursement. That's the vertical axis. Horizontal axis is the year, resolution, numbers, and so on. And in each box, I put who's covered, employee, spouse, or both. And what that shows me is that in the early stages of this process, 1990, 1991, there was no specific mention of Part B reimbursement. In 2007, there was a specific mention of employees getting health and Part B, but there was no mention of spouses getting anything. This is a gross summary of it, but this is what I found. 2007 Resolution 131, which was quite a bit later in the year, was the one that just said everybody has to register for Social Security Part B Medicare. Then 2013 Resolution 9 is the one that adopted the Town of Lake Luzerne employer and employee procedure policy. It starts to differentiate between health and Part B. It also said you have to work here, elected officials have to be here over 12 years. And if you have less than 12, you get no Part B. If you're less than 65, you get no Part B. So what that all says to me is, unless I missed something, I don't think spouses were supposed to be part of this. So. Can't hear me?
Is that up?
Can you, is it working?
Yes, you're good now.
Okay,
So I'm uncertain as to whether spouses were ever supposed to be covered. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 resolutions that I looked at, it doesn't really clarify. In my opinion, we kind of have two problems, and each of the two problems are divided into two parts. We have to determine how to handle current retirees, and we want to, as Paul mentioned the other day, we have to worry about future retirees as well. So I guess I'm just bringing this up to start discussion.
we also found out that from New York State.
Right.
Okay.
Do you want me to expand on that?
That,
Paul?
huh?
Do you want me to expand on that?
You can, the procedure book that was adopted back in 2013 at the annual organizational meeting is an official legal document and stands with the policies and procedures. Okay, so anything in that book is so stated that is our ruling. To change that, you have to have a referendum. Okay,
You have to have resolution.
or a resolution, excuse me.
Right.
So that was clarified in this past week, I guarantee, because there was discussions that this book was not, it is. And that's from the state of New York.
There was
I didn't,
another email from our town attorney
yes,
since then too.
right. Looking over all the total documents, I have not been able to find anything in there in regards to spouse about paying Part B Medicare. Pardon?
Got about 6 resolutions to cover it.
Okay. Part B or medical? No, two different items.
Part B is not.
No, it's two different items. It's two different things. One is state and one is follow-up. You don't have to have, in our case, humana policy. Okay? That's a secondary.
That's right. That's a supplement.
That's a supplement, and a supplement is done in regards to the, in your case, or a person that wants a supplement, or they're willing to pay the secondary charges out of their own pocket if Part B isn't covered under Medicare. Okay, well, this is what I have found out.
I understand the fact that you people were not on the board at the time this all took place, and it's creating a lot of confusion. That's very, very clear to see.
Well, all I know is what I can go by with the paperwork that has been presented to me, okay? And I don't want to start off on a bad thing, Bob. I'm not saying I want to take it away from
Anything
you.
you have a question on, let me know and I will find the answer.
Tonight's the night. If we have questions.
Oh,
let's do it
yeah.
Tonight, it's dragged on long enough.
That's correct, Mike.
In my opinion, 13 years of paying Part B for spouses and retirees has set a precedent. Supervisor Molino voted yes for all of this back when, so how we can say, well, it was wrong, we shouldn't be doing it. You had 13 years to figure it out. Now, all of a sudden, when we get called out on the carpet, we want to rewrite history, which to me is blasphemous, not fair to everybody that retired under the premise that,
It's covered.
Can I finish, Bob?
Resolution
Let me finish.
2007.
okay, all right, go ahead. Doug?
Well, I'd like to answer a little bit of that myself. Last year I got really chastised a lot about paying the Part Bs to spouses, that it was wrong and I was doing it wrong. And there was a lot of print up about it and I got told I wasn't doing a job because I did that. And now all of a sudden the same people, or one of those people is saying, well, we did it for that long, let's do it for, two rights don't make a wrong. Back then, the resolution is wrong. Bob calls me a liar. I won't take it much longer being called a liar, but back there, that resolution was supposed, you have called, Bob, let me talk. You talk, let me talk. You've called me a liar because nobody in this board was there except you and I. And that resolution wasn't written correctly. You voted for it, I voted for it, but it wasn't the way it was supposed to have come out. But there's no paperwork on it. There's nothing in the files for it that we can go read what was talked about. So, you know, this has to come to an end, and I think it's time to come up with a working solution. And 2014 or 15, whenever we tried to phase it out because it was getting expensive, and that was the reason we did it. And if it was wrong, it was wrong. but two wrongs don't make a right.
There are resolutions that cover it.
Well, we can't find, what
I,
resolution?
I looked at two in 2017.
What do you got, Bob? Let's see.
I'm sorry. I looked at two in 2007, number 17, number 131.
You're welcome to sit at that table, Bob, and then bring them up here if you want to make it easier than standing there.
Yeah.
So. When I get nervous. I think the general consensus of our board, I've talked to a number of board members. And it's not to chastise or anything of that sort of the present people that are on the policies. It's to come up with a admirable solution and take care of it from there.
The first mention of spouses starts way back in 1996. And I can read that resolution to you if you'd like.
What resolution is that, Bob? Number?
The motion by Councilman Deal to adopt a resolution to amend the employer policy on page 5, last paragraph to read. Health insurance coverage shall continue for all employees of the town of Lake Luzerne who attain retirement age and retire from town regardless of the type of health insurance in effect at the time of retirement.
And that was what year, Bob?
Pardon?
What year?
Started, this person was 1996.
Is that the whole resolution?
No,
Because so far I haven't said anything about Part B.
well, Part B wasn't adopted until 2007.
Okay,
Go ahead.
But it does clarify the fact that spouses were included.
in health insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what, you want to go to the one in 2007? Because there's several between 96 and 2007 that
It's just,
specifically clarify the fact that spouses were included.
hold that thought just for a second, okay?
Yep.
My little overview that I just did, when I started, I said 1990 employee and spouses were covered under health insurance.
And there's several. there were
It doesn't
several
say anything
places-
about Part B.
No, well, it wasn't there. at
Okay.
that time. And there are several resolutions whereby it was clarified. That was something that was said about retirees. Didn't include spouses. And then after that, there were resolutions that clarified that it was to clarify the fact that spouses were included.
Right, I agree. 2007 is where they started.
That is resolution
Specifying the two.
131 of 2007. Okay, I have it right in front of me. Resolution upon the motion by Councilman McLean, seconded by Mr. Shields. That as of November 28, 2007, employees policy be amended to reflect that beginning January 2008, retirees, employees and spouses who are Medicare eligible at the eligible age of the town of Lake Luzerne are required to take Part B Medicare as offered by Social Security in order to qualify for medical coverage provided by the town.
That only is to clarify the fact that Part B is part of the plan. Without it, you can't participate in the plan. That's the purpose of that being in.
It was Councilman Shields, Deal,
That's why I know.
and Supervisor Marino voted. Only 3 voted on it.
That was to clarify that situation, the fact that the town can't sign this up to Part B, it's something that the employee has to do. But it was specified, as I say, it was specified in a resolution that the town would adopt that cost. Matter of fact, the town attorney made a comment about it just prior to that resolution.
Well, that's the resolution that you were talking about on
Resolution 17, 2007.
2007.
2007.
That says retirees. Doesn't say anything about spouses. Doesn't.
It says retiree, employees and spouse who are required to take the Part B Medicare as offered by Social Security.
That was caused by before,
That was caused by,
if you didn't sign up for it when you were 65, then there was a penalty. That was just to clarify the problem to solve that.
Right.
People didn't forget to sign up for it, and then there was a penalty.
What number is that one, Paul? Is that 131 you're reading?
that's 131, Jim.
Right, yeah.
Go ahead, Bob.
And you see it mentions spouses there.
Yeah.
So that tells you that they were included. Otherwise, they wouldn't have even been mentioned. Well,
What it says is employees and spouses have to sign up for Social Security Part B.
That's
That's
all
all
it
it
states.
in order to qualify for town health insurance.
All
No,
it says.
see, that's the problem with the language on that. You could take that in
No,
two
it does
ways.
say that.
Huh?
Does say that.
Are required to take the Part B medical as offered by Social Security in order to qualify for medical coverage provided by the town. But there again, it says medical coverage. It doesn't say health insurance and Part B reimbursement.
Yeah.
Medical
Oh,
insurance.
it's-
covers
They're
the
both
whole thing.
medical coverage. Part B is
Because
medical
without Part
coverage.
B, there is no one.
Well, what is it if it's
There
not
is no-
medical coverage?
Well, we've been paying two different sets of bills. We've been paying health insurance and Part B reimbursement.
Right.
So there is some kind of difference. Otherwise, it wouldn't be two numbers.
But it still
And
falls
there-
under
there's
medical
something
coverage
else
is
that
what I'm
covers
saying.
the spouse, if you read the end of that. That in the event of death of the official, the spouse will continue to be covered by that medical insurance.
Medical insurance.
As
Yeah,
offered,
medical insurance
as offered by the
is
town,
separate.
as I believe it, the means offered by the town.
That isn't under 131 though.
Right.
131 stopped with yourself, Dan Waterhouse, Mark McLean, like I said, yourself, and Mr. Deal and Gene Marino was voted on, period. 131, that's where it stated it right
Okay, is
there.
there any resolution rescinding the one of 1990? If there's no resolution rescinding that, it's still in effect.
Or if you have a resolution that replaces it, that's the
It's
same
gotta
as
say it.
rescinding. it.
No, it's not. It's got to say it, that it's replacing it.
No, it doesn't. Well, I don't believe it does.
Attorney?
Well, anyway, you're gonna do what you're gonna do, so.
Well, I
I
think,
know what the intent was. and
I think to some extent, you're right. This almost doesn't matter.
No, it's just that we're all want to be in denial mode now, like Supervisor Moreno just called me out for saying, well, it's been going on for 13 years and I was against it last year. What I was against last year, and I want to clarify, is the unwillingness to get any documentation, proof, or how much people were paying is what we had the problem with. We were sending out blank checks every month without any, that's what the problem was, Gene. It wasn't the fact that we were paying it. It was that it was done so loosely that we had no idea what we were paying and how much. That's what that was about, just to clarify on the record. what you
I
said.
don't really agree with that. Plus, you got to remember, every meeting that you guys sit at, you read the bills, you look at all the bills, you look at all the checks, and you sign that you agree with everything, to let the supervisor sign the checks. He's not the only one.
Well, who was the one that cut back the payments every month? It wasn't done by resolution. It was you.
It was done by that resolution that's in that book. It's going to happen.
But it
tells you.
says in the front of the book that any changes need to be done by resolution.
It says you. could
It says
do
it right in the
also.
front of the
It didn't say
book.
You did do it. It says you could do
You
it.
can't just take it upon yourself to change things without the
And that
board.
has-
knowing.
Everybody
done by
signs,
resolution of the
everybody
board.
signs the check, the resolution to sign that check to give the people the money or take it away. So, we're not going to get anywhere here because we don't all agree. What we have to agree on
The
is to
whole
come up
thing-
with some kind of solution to make everybody happy. If you
That's-
go one way, it's not going to make everybody happy. If you go the other way, it's not going to make.
But who are we
everybody happy.
trying to make happy other than the people that got their money cut? Who's on the other side?
All the
All the board
taxpayers.
members.
I'm asking Gene.
all the
Taxpayer.
boards And people, the taxpayers,
the taxpayers put a revolt up because we're doing this? I haven't heard from anybody except people that are pissed that it happened.
Well, let those people come and sit here and tell
Well,
us.
where's
they're
the ones that are
pissed right in
against it?
front of us.
Where's the ones that are against it?
Mike,
Um,
I'm
where
not
are
gonna-
they?
I'm
I
not
think-
gonna debate you,
Hey, I
Mike.
Well,
think
what are
we're
we here
getting,
for?
we're getting
You're
out of the,
You just said that the people who are in favor are not here. Where are the
I'm
people
talking
that are
about the
against it?
board.
The question basically.
Change your
is
story
what
every
is the-
2
what is
seconds.
Right, what's the correct way? What is
What's fair?
what's fair?
Well, I told you last
Yeah.
week, and I challenge everyone to call all supervisors of every town. We're the only ones that do it.
That is not true.
That's
Gene.
not the
It is
point,
true.
That is
I
not
talked,
true.
I talked to 7 supervisors.
don't
They
care
do
who you
not
talk to. I
pay,
have
wait a
research.
minute. They pay like we do, a separate,
Some of them may, but there are some that pay it all.
they don't pay it all.
They
Not the
do.
ones I talked to. Maybe
Do I
you've
gotta
got
prove it
different
to you?
ones. Huh?
I can prove it to you.
Well, you can prove a lot
My
of things,
brother-in-law
Bob. I don't
works
want to
for
be a
the-
liar
works for the
again. I'm
town
just
of-
telling you what I
South Glens
hear.
Falls. He gets his entire thing.
Who's that?
Wayne Bruce works for the South Glens Falls,
Of what? Tell, you know,
South Glens Falls Police Department.
well, police department, I
State
don't,
of New
Town
York, does
employee.
it.
no, the state of New York.
The state of New York does it.
I
The
think we're,
city
get-
of New York does it.
I haven't found anything that says,
I have.
hold on, I didn't finish my sentence. I haven't found anything that says we can't do it,
No.
but I haven't found enough to prove that, tell me we should have been doing it.
Well,
One thing Bob, just for a
you
second,
know, if you go back to the original resolution, you saved 50% of the cost of what you were paid. And I think that fact has been lost. Now, if we were on the original insurance today, you're saving about $50,000 a year.
That's-
Now,
But
what-
Bob, I have here, you say we didn't pass any resolution or anything. I have here 6 letters that we sent out to all the people, letting them know, starting in 2013, 2014, 2015, that eventually this was going to be cut back because of tax caps. No, I know you don't, but here they are right here. They went to
Yeah, but who
everybody.
approved sending out the letters, Gene? You could
What's
send
that
out a letter
mean?
saying anything you
Gene,
want.
most
Doesn't
of the
mean
people
it's
didn't
gonna
even know what
happen.
this was
My
all
subject.
about.
Who approved the
They didn't
letter?
know what it was about.
Gary Deal didn't know what it did not have.
Then why didn't
understanding
she
at
come
all.
and see us?
Pardon?
Why didn't people come and see
I
us?
don't know.
But can I ask
don't
you,
know. I
Gene?
can't answer
I'm not
that.
going to answer your questions, Mike.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's professional. But who approved sending those letters out? Not the board.
They were brought to the board.
Where's the resolution saying it's okay to send them out? Or where is it in the minutes? It's not in there.
There was no legal.
Where is it? That's a simple question. That's not argumentative. It's not provocative. Where's the minutes documenting that you're sending out 5 letters? Jim, can I ask him a question?
There is no resolution authorizing cutting that. Nowhere, I've looked through every minute from today right back to 2007.
No, I'm under the assumption that the resolution's in that green book right there.
That book,
But that paragraph right there.
It says in 2, maybe 3 places, due to any number of factors may be modified or eliminated in the future.
maybe.
It
Right.
doesn't say it's somebody's women desire, though. It should be done
It's not the
At
supervisor
the
that
board
has the
level,
authority to
not
do
just
it.
somebody
That's
has an
done by
idea one
resolution of
day.
the board.
Anything in there can be modified and changed in the future, but it's got to be done the right way.
None of the,
Yeah.
none of the benefits outlined in this document are guaranteed to continue for any length of time and may at the town's discretion be amended or
The
eliminated.
towns or the
At-
supervisors? The towns would be the board, wouldn't it?
I'm reading.
No, I understand, but I'm just saying, it's, you say the town's discretion.
Yeah.
No, I read it.
Okay, then I'll read it again. I want to read the whole thing because context is important. None of the benefits, and this is under the paragraph F, future coverage, on page 13. I know you've seen it. None of the benefits outlined in this document are guaranteed to continue for any length of time and may, at the town's discretion, be amended or eliminated at any time without notice. Now, I'm only reading this, Bob. Hold on.
I understand.
I got 10 more words for the thought. I'm only reading this out loud to help me assess the issue of what's fair.
Can I make a point?
Now read this.
The following designated session, where are we?
Right
Page,
there, right
page
there.
one. Town of Lake Luzerne employee procedure.
What page you
The
on?
following
One.
designated sections effective January 1, 2013 shall constitute the policies and procedures of the town of Lake Luzerne as they apply to its employees. Such policies and procedures shall remain in effect unless and until they are amended by the board.
Thank you. Hard to argue that.
Yeah, it goes right back to, we have to figure out what to do to move forward. In my opinion.
Like I
Absolutely.
said,
No, you're absolutely right.
And to move forward, you got to think about the retirees and the future.
Yes, and, you know, all people, including the tax,
retirees, present and future.
Well,
yes,
there's a date in there that nobody's eligible for after a certain time.
Yes.
So that's not going to affect any future retirees.
Yeah, the birth dates were okay. All of those are,
That's not what I'm talking about.
okay.
I'm talking about, there's a line in the sand, and Colleen can clear it up better than I, that after a certain date, this is already gone. Right. So there's no worry about a few, and not that we're not worried about them, but why we're here tonight has nothing to do with future employees. Because it says right in there, after such and such a date and such and such a year, nobody else is eligible for this. This is just a select group of people right now that have been wronged.
Colleen, at the present time, Humana is costing how much per person? That's what I thought you said.
For the
Okay.
supplemental, for the supplemental, right?
Yes. I mean, like you say, there was no resolution to make the cuts, then was there a resolution saying that those new retirees are not eligible?
I think it's in the book, isn't it?
They're both.
Bob, when you work for the town, yeah, okay.
What's it both in the book, Kyle? What do you mean by that?
That you can start reducing them, and that part is not made.
Right, but when we amended this book as a whole, it was saying that after this date, nobody's eligible and that you can amend it. So we would have to amend by board resolution that somebody else is eligible or that we're going to cut back. So, right, does that make sense?
When you work for the town, Bob, I know you spent many years here. Did you pay a percentage of your health insurance?
Did what?
Did you pay a certain percentage of your health
No.
insurance?
No.
You were paid 100%, the town did. Not like today.
No. That was started just, I don't know, a few years ago.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that. Well, we know that the Part B is costing the town,
Oh, absolutely.
okay? Which the overall is roughly at $170 per person. We have other people that up a little bit more. Okay, we know that the health insurance is costing each member $221.
But you're paying double that for, you know, a regular employee, which was the policy that we were on originally. So as I say today, you're paying less than half what you would be if we were on the original plan.
Well, that's here nor there.
Well,
This is where we are today. This is what we're paying out per person. And we're talking up of 10 or 11 people.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
I'm not sure exactly.
but an employee now is paying 6% the cost of his.
Say that again to me.
Employee
Yeah,
is paying 6%. Without Part B, your retiree is paying about 50%. Not 40%.
you're paying 50%.
Well, you have to pay the Part B.
I-
That's almost 50% of the cost of the entire policy.
I know everybody's probably tired of hearing it, but I got a decent plan with CDPHP for $62 a month.
What is it?
A supplemental plan, $62, 61 or $62 a month.
Well, that's something the town can negotiate with the different insurers.
Well, what I would suggest, having owned the business for a long time, I learned that if people have a stake in the game, they get better prices. I think we should discuss offering a certain amount. I don't know the amount. And they can use it to pay Part B. They can use it to pay their supplement. They can use it for whatever they want. They can use it to buy beer.
That's moving forward. But what about
Yeah, but
looking
how do you
back for all
cover-
these
how do
years?
you cover in your employee policy where the town is obligated to pay for the retiree insurance? Right now, the town is required to provide the retiree and his spouse medical insurance. Now, how you do that is up to you. Whether you want to use Part B or if you can come up with some different plan, you can negotiate with any company you want.
I'd rather stay out of
But
that.
it's got to go for
Well,
insurance,
But
Jim. You
up
can't
until
just,
it's amended by the town board, this is what's in effect today.
and yesterday.
Well, what difference does that make? I don't understand.
Makes a
Well,
huge
you have
difference
to
because
abide
they've
by
been
the
getting
town
cut.
policy.
You
Pardon me?
can't just say we're going to give you $200 a month and
obligated.
go buy beer with it. It says that it has to be predicated for medical insurance.
Well,
I know buy beer isn't what you really meant, but you
Yeah.
can't just hand it out and say, okay, well, if you don't have insurance, we're still going to give you money. That doesn't work.
well, there'd have to be some thought put into the resolution.
But again, we're looking forward. What we need to do is look back at everything that's happened up until today from when those cuts first started being made. What we're here for tonight is nothing about tomorrow. It's all about what's already happened to these people. In my opinion.
I mean, you're talking about something that was promised to employees. Some of them work 35 years or more. Something was promised all the while they worked with the town. Now you're talking about taking it away from them?
No. No, we're not talking about that.
It's already
No.
happened. It's already happened.
Yeah,
My whole problem with the whole situation that I can see it, if a retiree spouse or whoever, and we come up with a figure, which we've got to supply Part B and a Medicare or a supplement, people with, what's the word I'm looking for? Pre-existing conditions. I am so afraid on my end, so many of these policies today will not pick up preconditions. Okay? And if it means that the people that are on the Humana plan right now, to guarantee them, you and your wife and everybody else's spouse or past employee, my feeling is we continue with those figures. Okay? This guarantees you, your spouse with Part B and good medical insurance. A few years ago, we did increase Humana's plan. They have, if you've ever looked into it, they have an A, a B, a C, a D, and I think one more. This town hall or these councilmen in the town decided to pick up and go to all the way up to A to guarantee everybody had good insurance.
A is the best and most expensive, I assume.
That is the most expensive. My mother, when I got hers out of Humana, was $161 a month. Okay. This board, a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, decided to bring it all the way up to Part A, which almost guarantees you nothing out of pocket. And you have to agree with that, Bob.
Part A?
No, Humana, Part
Oh, I
A.
don't know, I don't.
Okay.
Not familiar with-
Yeah. But your out-of-pocket expenses are hardly anything, correct?
You want to know what they are?
What's that, sir?
My wife was on Revlimid for a year. You know what that costs?
I have no idea.
28-day supply is $16,000. My copay was $5,200 a month.
How long
That's how
ago,
good it-
how long ago was that, Bob?
Year ago,
A year ago
a year ago.
is
That's why medical insurance is important. What would it have cost me if it hadn't happened?
$16,000.
Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing, but I don't know, of course, the reasoning why Medicare and Humana didn't pick up a good portion of that.
Well, it's a specialty medicine. Certain ones, you pay a third of the cost.
Okay,
Is that part of that donut hole clause?
No.
No.
Well, yeah, that would apply after you spend $7,200.
yeah. Okay. So this is my way of thinking to keep everybody up at this time is to take care of those two parts.
Just like we have that,
Yes,
but in full.
but we put that onto it, saying those two policies to be paid for. This is my thinking, to be paid for and capped at those prices as of today.
Let me say one more thing. Like, everybody keeps saying we took it away. You were moved to, the people were moved to Medicare, which the government supplies. You pay for it, but the government supplies it. Humana, we got the best we could to equal the 20% that the government doesn't pay. What we took away was the money we were paying for the Social Security part of the penalties that people were making.
You know, there's another good question. There is no reason anybody paid a penalty. Right here's a copy of the law.
You
Let me
paid the
read it.
penalty if you didn't sign up at
Let me
65.
read it. Let me read it.
Oh, we'll
I
read
took
it.
I took this right out of the law. If you or your spouse continued working past your 65th birthday and had health insurance through your employer, you won't have to pay a penalty for late enrollment in any of the Medicare programs.
Who falls under that?
Pardon?
Who fell under that?
There was 3 people. Well, now, I don't know originally, there was more than that.
Who fell in that the day of their 65th birthday?
Eileen Klug. She worked here after she was 65. She's paying a 3-year penalty.
Okay,
Shouldn't be. I don't know how it was explained when this was all presented to Social Security, but the other one was Gretchen Grant. Victor was here right up until.
she was over 65,
and
Bob?
The other one was Claudia Klug.
But
Now,
we
they may
had,
have
we
been
had
wrong
nothing to
prior
do
to
with the
that.
penalty, Bob. The
Pardon?
town had nothing to do with the penalty. I mean, I see
I
what you're
understand
reading,
that.
what it says
Didn't-
there.
Didn't you go over and talk to them?
We went, Bob, Tom Deal and I begged them to,
Why wasn't it explained to them that they were still working for the town?
it was explained.
No reason.
We didn't do it. Social Security did it.
Here's a classic example of what I was talking about before. If people have a stake in something, they're gonna fight for it. In my opinion, I don't know those folks, okay? So I don't mean to single them out, but they should have fought for no penalty.
I don't think that they realized enough about it because the town took care of everything at that time.
Yeah, but because of that, we're paying it,
Well,
right?
Gene went over and that should have been explained to them at the time that these people were still working for the town.
When did Social Security get documentation as their wages that they were still working?
Could you say that again, please, Colleen?
When did Social Security receive documentation? They received documentation of their wages, so they would know those people were still working.
Yeah, if they were still working, Social Security still would have been deducted from their paycheck and credited to their regular account.
I mean, I agree with what you're saying. You're reading that, but when we were there, we were told if you don't sign up, they don't tell you it's, I was wrong when I said mandatory. But if you don't sign up, when you want to start collecting it, 5 years later, 8 years later, 10 years later, you have to pay a penalty back to what,
You don't, according to this.
well, we didn't do it. I mean, you keep saying that. It had nothing to do with us. You people
Are
got
they,
the bills, not us for that part. The part we were,
One thing I'm saying is they shouldn't have been paying a penalty.
do you know if they're still paying that penalty?
yes.
Yeah,
So, and that one of them is, or at least one is a 3-year penalty?
It's,
one's a 3, the other 2, 2 years.
Okay, so let's take the 3 because it's the worst case. That's 30%. And the base now is 170. What's a third? So they're paying a $60 a month penalty
Yeah.
for 20 years or whatever.
and this resolution, I know you're gonna say I'm a liar. This resolution was meant only to pay the penalty for the people.
It was not. It says,
You-
read the resolution,
Well,
read the comments from the attorney.
yeah,
That tells
but
exactly
you
what
were
it
there,
is.
Bob. You fought tooth and nail to get it for all the people that were getting on Medicare. You even voted for it because you were getting it.
So did you.
But I definitely voted for it because it sounded right, but it doesn't make it right the way it is.
I don't understand what you're saying.
My point is the argument was, it was an hour worth of arguments. It's not in writing. We looked in the file. They didn't type all that stuff in, but it started off to pay only the penalty
That
of a
doesn't even-
person.
That doesn't even make sense.
I know, well, you
And
were
how can
there.
That would be discriminatory.
So how did you let it go 13 years then?
We didn't let
Doesn't
it go.
make sense.
It's still going today.
It's still going today.
That's 13 years.
No, it's been cut back a lot since 2014. We're not paying that penalty as much. That's what he's asking for
Yeah, but
back.
Gene, where the problems come in, and I don't mean to pick on you. Where the
Everybody
problem
else
came
does,
in,
so I don't want.
You took it upon yourself to do it without any authorization from the board, and that's where the problem
It
is.
is.
You say that. Yeah, I know. You say that. And even with the booklet, we spent months on that booklet that people knew what was going on. You
There
say
is
that.
no resolution anywhere in any minute that of stating any of the changes that you made. It's just a blanket thing that says basically, we approve what was discussed. Well, when was it discussed? Where was it discussed? You've got to be specific. Anytime you make a change, you've got to be specific as to what that change involved.
And I'll still say it. You were here. I don't know if you were here. We had a meeting here with all the employees on that book for one day. No, you shake your head. Let me finish. They had breakfast here. We had donuts, we had coffee, we had lunch. Everybody was discussed what we were doing to that book. Making it better, making it worse, whatever the case may be. It was discussed by all the employees.
You talk about the green book, Jim.
Green book.
So in my mind, you did a great job with it, but it just wasn't followed. On page
That-
1, it says there's no changes to be made until amended by the town board. And you made changes without that.
Well, we,
There's not the book's fault. It's the procedure that's wrong.
okay, so we're wrong. I'm
Oh,
telling you. we
no,
were
I'm just
wrong.
saying, I'm not, you're
But it
taking it so
doesn't-
personally, but
Two
there was
wrongs
a
don't make
mistake.
a right to go back and.
Well,
pay it
2
back.
wrongs did make it right. You
Wasn't
didn't?
done legally, it's not in effect.
The
Yeah,
book was done and approved by the people in the audience and the board.
right.
There's
So-
no record of it. There has to be an official record.
He's not here. But the book was approved, Bob. The problem was it didn't get followed. What the book said to do,
Yeah,
but let me finish.
All right.
The book says any changes to what's inside the book needs to be approved by the town board. And inside here, it says, well, some changes could happen to your money or whatever, if it's approved. And it never got approved.
But my point is, the book was printed afterward. The book wasn't in effect.
The book's not the problem.
That's what I'm saying. There's no record of anything being discussed prior to the book. They have been discussed, I don't know where, but there's no record of any discussion.
No, that book had a lot of discussion, believe me. Took 6-8 months to do that book.
I don't care if it's been 12 years. If you didn't do it legally, it don't mean anything.
What your legal part and what I feel is, and we were wrong not following it to the T.
Talk to your attorney, please.
We tried. I don't know what they'll. The other attorney didn't want to weigh in on it because he's really new at it. It really doesn't. He gave us as much information as Mr. Niles asked him for in legal opinions. But to end the problem, we didn't get a.
Well, I
I
could,
think to end the problem, you all have to make a determination. This isn't truly a legal issue at this point. It's a policy decision as to how you want to proceed, and we're not here to make policy decisions on behalf of the town board. We're only here to say what is and is not legal.
Here's Mr. Crow's
Sure.
last email to me on Friday, the 15th. He starts off by, I missed this one, and what he's referring to is my last email. I wouldn't go so far as to say the manual is valid. However, my opinion is that the policies in it, to the extent that they have not been since amended, are valid. My position remains that there is not a procedural issue that would prevent the board from making a discretionary decision on the Part B reimbursement issue.
And basically, we've made changes in that board. We just did it last year by upping pay for employees, which we changed there's a couple of times we changed it, but each one of those were changed individually.
By resolution.
Right, so all
That's
the
the missing
resolutions
piece.
leading up to 2013, when this was adopted, all those resolutions can be amended or repealed or revoked or at any time. So if this was not appropriately approved or there's questions regarding that, today you can say, we're amending this policy, we're amending resolutions starting in 1990 through 2007, or whatever those dates are, to say this is what the policy is going to be going forward.
Which
We
that didn't
agree-
get done.
You're right, we agree
That
with
didn't get
that.
done.
Yeah,
But what about past?
like past practice.
Yeah.
I mean, where is the issue right now? Is there a period of years that's the issue? or is it
From
going
about
forward?
2014 or 15, when we really got into looking at what it was costing us to follow the regulation that we set in 2007, which we all, I think, agreed were wrong. But now it's more, I don't know how to explain it, reference it.
Colleen, when did we start deducting the $10?
January in 2014.
So turning for 8 years, we deducted, what was it, $10 a month, escalating over every single year We started-
It was $1,200 a year.
from each
$10
one,
the first year, 20
Right.
the second, 30. the
without a
third,
board
so on.
resolution changing the policy in the book.
It was an additional $10 every month, every year.
It was just $10 a month every year.
But there was never any consideration taken in regard to the increase in price of Part B. You stayed with the original figures as to what the cost of Part B was in 2014.
I can't
And
believe
it
that.
Went up every year. You
Believe
never took that into.
No.
Well, that was something also that should have been in that resolution in 2007. It should have been at what that was that day and not go up because you
What
just
should
can't
have
keep
been
up
good.
with that.
Doesn't mean anything.
It does mean, and you were paying health insurance $500 a year at that time, and now you're paying $20,000 a year.
But it wasn't in there.
It wasn't.
It
I'm
wasn't. So
saying it
you still
wasn't.
have to know, when you say you're gonna pay somebody's Part B, it's not a snapshot in time, it's what it is every year. And we never took the time to figure out what that was.
We've
And
been
I'm not blaming you. Jim.
Well,
Don't
you
think-
are. I mean, you guys.
No,
were
you're
all here
taking it
last
personally
year.
because you're the one that made the decision to start cutting everybody's money without the board
Well,
approval.
why didn't we change the resolution last year then to stop it or go with it?
We talked, we've been doing this for a
Yeah,
year.
your other attorney said it's
We've
not.
been working on this for over a year.
More than that.
Yeah, so we're
Your
here.
other attorney said it's not for
Well,
the spouses. He said it. That's the resolution. It's not for
We've proven
spouses.
that's
Has
not
nothing to do with the employees.
Kara.
They should get what they deserve.
then why are we 13 years later talking about it?
But
Why did it
because-
happen on day one?
It didn't happen on day one.
Yes, it did.
Mike. It's easy to say that, Mike, but it didn't
But
happen.
it did.
And a lot of boards were here. A lot of people on the board were.
We've been paying the spouses since day one.
You're right, and it wasn't
just-
right. You're 100% right, but
We're
it
talking
doesn't
in
make it
circles,
right.
Gene.
It
I
doesn't
guess
make
my
it
question,
right.
Kara,
These
in our-
people retired with the premise that they're gonna get what is told. to them.
Health insurance, and they're getting,
And Part
they're
B.
getting the Medicare, and they're getting a supplement to cover the difference. So they got their health insurance. This has nothing to do what they promised about the health insurance. Nothing. It all has to do with that social security money. That's all it has.
Why did the town attorney at the time make the comment that he did?
When was that, Bob?
When this was adopted in 2007?
Oh,
Yeah,
Let me read it.
I made it said it was a good sound move on the board's part. Is that what, that's what you're saying?
Let me read it. Let me
Let-
what he
read it.
said. Discussion regarding town health insurance plan through Yeager and Flynn Associates. It requires all town employees, retirees to be on Medicare Part B, which in the past was optional. The adoption of this plan will save the town between $22,000 and $25,000, even with the reimbursement for Part B costs. Attorney for the town agreed that choosing the plan did great savings to the town, including reimbursement of Medicare Part B, is a wise fiscal decision by the town board.
That's 100% right, but it was never specified about spouses, and it was just assumed, and I hate to use that word, that the spouses were under it, and they shouldn't have been.
what's it, do you have a date on that, Bob?
2007.
2007.
It was resolution, you have to go up and see what one resolution 2017 and 2007. I don't have the date.
Yeah,
I think it was in February.
Have it-
I found part of that note.
I think it's February 2007. but I'm not sure.
No, I had to think a little later because we were getting
Well-
ready to do the new insurance policy.
In my mind, I'll tell you what the difference is. I found a note and it was standing by itself, so I don't know what it goes as part of. The note is dated Wednesday, November 28th, 2007. And all it says, it's part of what you said. It's a discussion of the board added spouses to that language. But I don't know. It's on a list of notes and right following it is resolution 131. So I don't know if they're connected or not.
The date, it was in relation to resolution 17 of 2007, whatever that date. is.
I don't think so, because the date on the top of this piece of paper is November something. And resolution 17 would have been a lot earlier in the year. I think it's part of 131, not, but it doesn't matter. Mike's right, it doesn't matter.
Kara, when something is, and we've gone over this, I believe already, stated in our handbook, okay? And as an example, there's a line that was given to me. None of the benefits outlined in this document are guaranteed to continue for any length of time or the town, at the town's discretion, may be amended or eliminated at any time. Okay, now the only way to change that is by referendum, correct?
A resolution.
Or a
I don't
resolution.
think this requires a referendum.
Okay,
I don't see any provision in here that.
that's on page
specific-
13.
Yeah, but I don't see anything other than the provisions you've already identified, which is like the very first paragraph and on page 1, and that provision that discusses it. So the language, in both of those sections, it would just require a resolution of the town board to modify this.
Okay, thank you.
Well, anybody have a suggestion on how we should handle this?
I do. I think we should pay them. I think we should pay them what we own and pay them what was deducted on without authorization. It says right here, health insurance premiums will continue to be paid by the town for retirees and their spouses. Part B reimbursements are not guaranteed for life and due to any number of factors may be modified or eliminated in the future. So, I mean, we called it Part B, we've called it health insurance, we've called it medical coverage, we've called it a lot of different things. So 13 years later, if we want to start splitting hairs and say, well, I didn't say that, it didn't mean this, it shouldn't have been this, it was wrong, two wrongs don't make a right, all that stuff, that's just trying to cover our tracks.
No, it's not
And-
kind of.
can I finish?
Tracks, it's just
Yeah.
trying to get things settled.
That's what I'm-
Read what you just read. We're still paying their health insurance with a Humana plan that subsidizes their,
I thought you asked me my opinion. I'm sorry, Gene. Go ahead. Tell me what it is.
you
Would you?
know, it's, you're saying, you're reading it there, they're still getting health insurance from the town through Humana and through the federal government. That's what they're getting right now, down the line. They're not without anything. It's the Part B that's in thing, whether it should have
Part
said,
B is the plan.
But you're talking about spouses now, but you cut the premiums of the retirees too. Unauthorized. So how can we even sit here and try and play holier than thou with the spouses? But you
playing
did
holier
it, you
than
did it
thou.
to the retirees too. You didn't just do it to the spouses, you did it to the people that actually worked every day for the town for 35 years. You did the same thing to them. You gave them the same treatment that you gave the spouses. You cut their money without authorization because you felt like doing it.
Yeah.
There was no board approval. There was no discussion of it. There was no
were
nothing.
you there? You weren't around to hear all some. of the
Where is
things,
it?
You know,
You must have it there in your pile.
I went by the book.
No, you
It was
didn't.
authorized to take care of that. We got to the point.
The last thing you did was go by the book.
You weren't authorized. to
The
do
first
that.
page of the book
It
says it
you could
needs
do it.
town approval.
It says you could do it, but the town board never took any action to do it.
Bob, I don't know why I'm asking this. It's just curiosity, I guess. Why didn't folks complain about this
I
years
have no
ago?
idea. Can't answer that. But whether they did or not, doesn't change whether.
I know, but like I said, I'm just curious. Why didn't you complain about it 6 or 8 years ago?
The reason I didn't was because I brought this up to Gene several years ago. And he said to me that the town attorney came to him and told him it was an illegal action. They could not legally do it. And I took him at his word at the time. Then afterwards, I found out, talking to my brother-in-law, that he was getting it. So then I started going on the internet and checking, and I found out that the state of New York was doing it, the city of New York was doing it. And I knew that there were several other towns in the area, not a lot of them, but there are some that do it. So I said, I knew it wasn't illegal. The state of New York is doing it, it's not illegal.
By do it, you mean reimburse people for Part B.
Exactly.
But that's
So then
also,
I
Bob,
started
that's
looking-
also part of contracts that police have, firemen have, state of New York has. We don't have a contract.
Yes, you do. Right here.
That's right. That's as good as a contract.
That's a contract.
I have another potential, emphasizing that word, explanation. And that's the folks thought it was fair.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I have another potential explanation for my hypothetical question. My hypothetical question was, why didn't they complain about it years ago? My hypothetical answer is because they thought it was fair. I don't know that.
They didn't understand.
Maybe they didn't know.
Understand.
Yeah. I know it's
Mary Neal
complicated.
called me up and wanted to know what it's all about. And I explained, thank God, somebody finally told me what's going on.
Maybe they had faith that the town was doing the right thing.
I would
You
agree
gotta
that that's a
realize-
possible
You
answer.
gotta realize some of these people are old. and they're
Yeah.
not quite-
It's complicated.
Yeah,
I've been spending a lot of time on it and I'm still not real sure.
And I think part of the disconnect is your Part B and everything comes right out of your social security check. You don't have to
That's
mail it in.
exactly
So
right. You don't
it's
even
like,
know.
you don't even know.
Right.
So if you don't sit there and
look into that
dissect
stuff.
it all, you don't know.
If I hadn't retired a few years ago, I wouldn't know half as much as I know.
Go on, it's
Time out.
change.
Time out.
Every year, Mike.
It was 140 bucks last year, like it's 170 bucks this year. It'll probably go up another 30 bucks next year.
It's only gonna go up. It's only gonna go up. It's never gonna go down.
No, but they're nice to us. They give us an increase in social security, but then they take it back in your benefit.
You get $5 more and $10 less.
Yeah,
Isn't that the way?
everybody this
Well,
past
state
year
of New
got
York,
an
it's always like
increase in
that.
social security. And then if you do your dissection, as you're calling it, they go and take it and then take another increase on your Part B, which overall, the percentage that we got was like $5. That's what it ended up being, $5 to $7. Okay, due to cost. We need a machine with a longer table.
The longest one, yeah, I've checked.
Okay.
I got one question for you, Bob, and you're kind of speaking for everybody to a degree. You must have had meetings with everybody. Okay, in concern to this. What was the consensus of opinion in regards to what you, since you're the spokesman, actually looking for
What do you mean, in what regard?
in regards to monetary figures, the health insurance and everything?
I'm still not quite sure what you're.
What
asking.
kind of relief are you looking for?
What are they looking for?
Yeah,
I don't think they have any. I don't think that very few of them really even understand what the whole thing is all about.
okay. How about the people that you have talked to? Now, I know you've been here with
Yeah,
Timmy, you've been here with,
they understand.
okay, so they understand. What are they looking for then? Since you're doing the
What's
spokesman.
fair to them.
Okay,
All they're looking for is what they were promised. That's all they're looking for.
okay. So
In
the
your
Part
opinion,
B,
does that include back stuff, back monies?
That wasn't my original intent when I brought this up.
It was to stop the cuts, right?
It's- Pardon?
Your original intent was to stop the cuts.
Yeah,
to guarantee you
that
got
was
good
my original
insurance.
intent.
So in
That's
other
still-
Go
words,
back to what I felt it should be, what was originally adopted. Then I did get into checking what the amount that it was. I'll tell you, it's a substantial figure.
so what you're actually looking for is to guarantee yourself Part B and good insurance for you and your spouse.
That's what I was originally looking for, yes.
Okay, you looking for more now?
Not necessarily. I only want what's fair. I want what's fair. And I guess that's the board's decision to make.
And just remember, guys, it's no disrespect to Bob. He's not speaking for everybody.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not.
So
No.
please don't think that
Yeah,
he's
he's
the
not a-
spokesman.
not a
He's just the
spokesperson.
advocate, which
Yeah.
is the
Yeah.
difference.
No.
He's not hired and said, hey, you go in there, you have power of attorney for me, and you say, that's not,
No.
not that case at all.
Understood,
But
understood.
I'm saying,
You
No,
can't, you can't
gotta
look at it
realize-
like that.
you
I'm not
gotta
looking
realize
at
you're
that.
talking About an older group of people here that probably don't get much social security.
correct. I still go back to the same situation that I said earlier in regards to the Humana. Keep them on that policy, pay their Part B, which is $391 a month, and they continue on. This way they got just what originally what our book said. They got their insurance, they got their supplement, done deal
From here on,
from here on.
capped.
For present employees and their spouses,
No, I'm talking retirees.
retirees, I mean,
capped at
Excuse me.
that? Or no?
That's the next question. You know, I mean,
Myself
And one more
personally,
question,
everything.
back pay or no?
Everything indicates that the town was supposed to supply this for their retirees and spouses. Yes, we could put a cap onto it. That's a decision. Myself personally, I don't feel capping the 7 to 8 people that are, or 10 people that are left. You have a certain amount of people that must change and get on the Humana plan. Or such as Gretchen that doesn't live in town, the
Don't know.
Haze's that don't live in town. Okay, they can get on it now. Okay. And they either join the policy that we have, or I'm saying, if you can't get on board with the town that's willing to pay your
You're talking
second,
about- You're talking about future retirees?
no, I'm talking you guys right now.
Just the
Okay.
retirees.
In the future's a whole different game.
I understand.
I'm talking present people. And I'm saying, continue to pay those 2 figures, okay, to their spouse and their past employee. And that's how we go.
now as far as reimbursement, that's a substantial amount of money. It's huge.
I've heard,
I think,
Colleen, I've heard the number 70 to 80,000. Is that,
I think presently, if you look at this, okay, at the time this was done, and this is only me speaking, okay? Everybody knows the reason for it because the cost of insurances. Okay, nobody really disagreed at the time. They assumed this is what the standards were going to be. Okay, and I think that part of it, on the reimbursement aspects, should be a done deal. We paid a lot, and the people and their spouse who work for the town need to be taken care of, plain and simple. Okay? And if we supply those 2 figures, they are being taken care of, just like it goes back to all this paperwork from the beginning, the way I look at it. Okay?
But
And this way, you guys have got your health insurance, your spouse has got it. You don't have to worry about changing policies in the respects to go find your own, okay, on a precondition. That's a tough thing sometimes. Okay? Some insurance companies, a lot of them don't pick up preconditions. Okay? So as long as every, huh?
That would bankrupt me.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Okay?
isn't that outlawed now?
Huh?
I thought it was outlawed. I thought they can't do it. It's the American Affordable Health Care Act. I think it was rectified
Changed.
to that. Yeah, I believe it was.
Okay.
Now, one concern I have is about the reimbursement. If you look at it, you know, with a 2% cap, with the state demand, you know, the law says we can't increase over 2% annually. I'm just a little concerned about that. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. And the taxpayer, you know, someone for the taxpayer, everybody here, we're all paying taxes. I'd like to see that considered going forward, considering everything is costing so much more. We're in a bind. Everybody's in a bind. Every town's in a bind. I mean, we need to consider that going forward. There's a lot of things in this town that need to be done to get us up to, we can function. We have issues going on with certain things. And that's just one of my concern. One of my concerns is that the impact on the town this may possibly have as far as the tax cap and all.
Well, this is what we've been paying anyways.
Yeah,
Okay? And
I'm just concerned about that.
Right.
The burden on the burden that the taxpayers have to put through the either negligence or mishandling or verbiage of, you know, whatever
doesn't-
worded, you know, I don't know.
What's done is done.
Yeah.
Let's move forward. Have anybody got any other remarks on what I've?
I could get behind what I think you're saying, Paul. And I'll reiterate it. to make sure I think I know what you're saying, which is we'd pay the Part B reimbursement and we'd pay the Humana supplemental plan costs.
If they're on another policy,
Oh,
they have to get back on our policy,
good point.
okay?
Okay,
Or it goes away.
Or
right. But we wouldn't pay,
we're not paying anybody direct to go get their own car,
I,
health insurance or anything like that. Either they come on board with us, or in this case, the
Well, we pay Part B
$221,
direct. We pay Part B direct.
we
to
only
the-
pay Part B only.
Correct.
and I think you're also saying, boy, correct me if I'm wrong, that we would not pay any back dollars.
That is correct.
Which is directly related to my concern. It's just the
Right.
future impact on the town.
Right.
You know, fiscal challenges we're gonna have coming up.
This is what
I could get behind this, but I'd still have that little concern about this just keeps going up and up and up.
There's no doubt about it. But
Everything goes up.
The whole thing is,
Unfortunately,
since
You're right.
2007 or whatever our paperwork is saying, that this benefit was to be given to the town employees and their spouse. Can be eliminated at times. Okay. Certain things were done. Okay. I'd like to move forward and draft up what I am mentioning as a motion, and we get it through and over with by our next meeting. How's it sound, gentlemen?
now, I like that idea, but I'd like to possibly call us another workshop to work on those specific issues.
Let me ask Karen something. Based upon, is it Kara or Karen? Kara? Have you heard enough to draft a resolution?
Well, I think, I mean, I need some clarification. So it's just, I need to know who this applies to. Is this,
There's a specific list of names.
so it would be for a specific list of people and not necessarily a modification of any policy or
Hmm.
resolution. So that would be a separate issue you would either take on
Right.
for persons moving forward.
Right.
My question, Kara, is what about the legal ramifications? Obviously, we didn't follow the letter of our own policy when we did this. And we're speaking for Bob, not the other however many people. Suppose we pass this and put it through, and then all of a sudden we get somebody files a lawsuit against us for that money that didn't get paid. Where does that leave us?
That's certainly a possibility.
That's what I thought.
That's
So
certainly
my
a
idea is if we're gonna pass this, which I don't agree with 110%, I would suggest that we get everybody to sign off on it first to accept this payment, to say that they're in agreement with it, because $80,000 divided up over 10, 12 people. There's a lot of people getting burned on this, and I wouldn't be comfortable. We'd all want it, I guarantee you that. If we were in that seat, you'd want your money. So we're not putting ourselves in their position.
So what
Got
are
to
you
look
gonna-
at the taxpayer, got to look at the people. There was money in the budget to pay these people. We chose not to. It's that simple, without board approval.
So
I
what
don't
if-
agree with it.
What if, hypothetically, what if 6 people or 50-50 come out? They want the money and they don't want the reimbursement.
Right.
What do we do?
I don't know. I'm not the expert, but I'm saying it's going to cost us a heck of a lot more to go to court and fight.
I'm not
Spend
disagreeing
people-
with what you're
It
saying.
wasn't in the budget. Oh, of course it was. Of course the money was in, right? It has to be.
The 80,000 was in the budget?
Over the course of all those years. How could it not be, Jim? You gotta
Well-
factor your costs. You know what your costs are going into the following year.
I just don't assume anything, okay?
Well,
What do you need, Kara?
And this applies to a specific group and their spouses.
Yes.
And is it intended to be capped at any time or not? I don't know if that was back.
Not to the, in my motion, not to be done to the present employees and their spouse that are on the retirement
Present retirees.
retirees.
So
That's what I said, present,
employees.
yeah, retired employees, excuse
So
me,
the short answer to that is no, no cap.
no cap. At this time. For the 11 people that we're talking about.
Would we want to,
Can I know the number you're talking about? That's the head of it.
391. That's 170 on the
Part B?
Part B and 221 on the Humana plan.
All right, let's leave the Humana plan on the side right now. That's there. That's always been paid.
But
So,
we want to make sure everybody's getting the out of network coverage.
well, no, my point is, so what is it gonna cost for the social security part? Let's say, what is that?
It's the 170.
So we
170.
change every year.
All right, so, I mean, I'm not trying to save face for me or anybody else. Maybe we can get a fixed number on that.
How do we
Humana
know?
is Humana. And Medicare is Medicare. But on that 170, why don't we cap it at a number? Let's say we'll start at 325, something to that effect.
325 for Part B. So
Yeah.
you're saying it should
You know,
almost,
that
if it
part,
doubles.
Yeah, so and cap it at that, so that if it does go up, we don't have to worry about it. Plus, we can take some of the surplus money that's there and give it back to them starting.
If you
now.
want to cap the Part B, okay,
I mean, because that's what I heard
If
from
you-
a couple.
if
I
you
think-
cap it at 250. And cap it at 250.
Or something like that, so we get extra money to catch up on some of the stuff. But see, I
How we
worry
do-
about
how-
the cap.
Tell me your thought process. If you cap it at 250 and it never reaches it, you're not going to recoup any extra money.
No, we're not.
No,
It's
no,
just-
I know, but you said to
They
give
will.
back. No, how?
They
It's
will.
just
You're
a
gonna pay them
safety
250
valve.
a month, even though they're
If
paying
they less.
170?
Yeah.
Oh,
right.
that's not a cap. That's,
So what
a cap means you were never going to pay more than that amount if
Well,
it goes up to that.
That's up to you. I don't care about the, if we start off with a 250, let's say.
But if you put a cap on it, now you're asking
Yeah.
the people that realistically got back money coming.
I'm saying
Want
we
to forego that.
I don't,
Why don't we
what
leave
the
the
supervisor
cap?
said really isn't a cap. It's
Let-
more, of
leave it.
you're going to get more every month than what it is.
Yeah, I would say. we
It's a
could do it
payout,
at
not a cap.
250, and don't worry about the cap rate. You gotta do the cap. Can we do it that way?
So you want to make a payment for more than the coverage is?
Because a couple of towns came up with an agreement. They told me they picked a number and everybody was happy with it. I didn't ask about a cap though.
Wouldn't it be easier to just leave it the way it is? How much longer are these people gonna live?
Well,
Let's
that's
be
my.
realistic.
I hope 100 years,
I
Bob.
do too.
Hope to see you a lot more, Bob. I've seen you my whole life. I hope to see you a lot more.
In the last 6 months and I've seen you in 10 years.
You're talking about me.
Yes,
Because
but we had good times together, didn't we?
Yeah.
All right, Bob, would you consider something like that? We keep the Humana the best we can, and we start paying 250 a month to all you people. And that'll cover the 170, whatever it is that you're paying. And you're gonna get $75 a month extra to catch up or go back, whatever the case may be.
But,
Well, you're gonna get 170.
yeah,
I'm proposing we throw in another $75 on that a month. And it'll help catch up on some of the stuff that was taken away. And we don't do a cap, and we get this solved. You
Yeah,
get
it'll
your
always be-
Humana, and you get your 80% from the Medicare, and I think.
Will it always be 75 more though, Gene? If Part B goes to 200, are we
If
going
it
to pay
goes,
him
we're gonna-
275?
let's Forget about a cap. The only problem is we're under a 2% cap.
Yeah.
And that was what started all this, because each year that was going up and up, and the number was getting bigger and bigger. We were gonna run into a problem, because if we can't match 2% cap, you have to do something, cut services, cut employees, or go over it, and everybody knows, everybody gets a check, and,
I have,
thank you.
I have a question or a thought.
Any thought?
If we did, this is kind of aimed at my colleagues and to Bob, if we did an extra $70, by the way, the 170 is about the right number right now, right?
sure.
If we did an extra $70, $80 and went 250, I would tend to agree with Mike's idea that we should get the folks to sign off on this.
Have to, because we're admitting wrongdoing if we do. that.
What happens if you get
When you start handing out money because to heal a wound, We have to make sure
I'm
that,
not saying there won't, I don't know. What happens if that's,
I don't know.
I don't know, it's-
what happens, what, Bob?
if you get
If
one-
somebody doesn't want to
I
do
mean,
it.
Somebody
that's,
doesn't- it's
you'll
gotta
have
be
to
one-
assess that situation when you cross that bridge and decide what. how you wanna handle it.
No, it's my understanding, the situation, we don't have to do that. In other words, we could, if the board agrees, we could start paying that amount. But, I'm worried that exposes us.
You know, the worst thing, in the way this is all written up, and I would never vote for it. All we gotta do is make a motion. And this whole thing could be eliminated.
Well, I don't want-
And that is the worst thing.
That's.
Yeah.
And I would
That's a
never-
coward's way out.
I'm saying.
Because
And
Bob,
I
this,
don't want this to happen. I don't think the board would allow it to happen.
If we do
But
that,
the way the book is written.
Yeah.
Okay, and the
Yeah.
policies that are in that book. We could come in here
Yeah.
at our next meeting and said,
take over.
We could also eliminate all vacation time, sick
That is
time,
correct.
benefits. So
Yeah.
is that really the
That
road
is
we want to
correct.
go down?
But-
and a week later,
I'm
we
just saying.
eliminate all of our
I mean,
employees.
it's just, you gotta
Okay.
look in the mirror.
But
Yeah, it's
Bob,
just-
this will be $3,000 a month, a year. The total that you get in your, from us. Plus the Humana, which is roughly, what'd you say to Humana?
221.
220, yeah, that's close to 3,000. I think we pay 2,600 per person. So altogether, right, Colleen, it's about 2,600? Total, I'm going by the year, not a month.
It's 221.
221.
So you're talking about roughly
$391 a month.
$2,700.
221 a month is 2650.
Yep, 2655. All right, so that on top, and then on top of the three. I think that might be a fair way to do it.
What's your gut?
I don't have a problem with it personally.
Okay.
Like Mike said, I can't speak for everybody.
Right. well,
No,
we
just, it's
understand that.
advice.
Nor
and-
should we take what he's saying as
Yeah,
he's speaking
exactly,
for everybody.
exactly.
Right.
We're drawing
Yes.
conclusions that we can't draw.
This
No,
is just
right.
something we're putting out because no one else obviously is here. He's the only, we got to get versus sounding board. Your
Well,
opinion,
probably
what would,
The truth of the matter is, if I hadn't brought it up, you probably would have never heard anything about it. That's the truth of the whole thing.
That is correct, Bob.
yeah, absolutely.
Why'd you do that?
Pot stir.
You folks in the back, are you affected by this?
No, I don't think.
Taxes, I say give it to Bob.
Do what's right, right? I'm with you.
I think that's a fair,
I'm with you.
I think that's a fair solution.
What do you need to draw it up?
I need a list of the persons that, I have this list. I'm not sure if everybody's on here, if it's accurate.
There's
This-
11
I think
people on the
Colleen's,
list.
Colleen's got to go.
Colleen,
She'll,
Okay.
she's got all,
Okay, Colleen's our bookkeeper.
Yes, that is accurate. That's what I provided last time. I
Is
can,
is there someone on here that should know?
But this also we can do it to the spouse.
well, these.
Why wouldn't it? It's whoever's on that
saying
list.
what went With the employee handbook changes. They're
But the
gonna
whole
go,
key
so I
is-
don't
His
think they're
wife
going to
would-
get Part Bs
would
because
wind up
their Part
getting
B
The
deductions were
three,
done.
the three
Um,
and the two
$1,800
sons.
a
As
year.
of
Twice,
the
so you'd
handbook.
be
So
getting
it's going to be
1,800 a year extra.
Yeah,
150 times 12.
So we need two
3,000.
things drawn up here, correct? One, for people to sign off, that they agree with what we're doing,
Mhm.
and they must sign off.
and they have to take the human. We're not gonna give anybody.
That is
extra
correct. They
check
have
like
to
we
be
do
on the
now.
Humana plan.
Because that all came about is because the
No health
insurance
insurance
company
file.
wouldn't insure people out of state. So
Right.
That's why
Humana will,
we
though, right?
pay them.
They will.
Now,
Humana will.
Humana will. That started a couple of years ago.
You know, the only thing that I,
That's gonna.
you start asking people to sign off on something,
Mm.
all of a sudden it throws a red flag.
Bob, we got to do
You
it.
have to,
I know.
I
The red
agree with
flag
you.
is
I
what
agree
was
with you.
Already done, Bob. And I'm not being mean, I'm not being negative. It's already done. We have to figure out a way to fix it.
Yeah, we gotta-
There's
don't
no red
do it.
flags now. The flag is us. You saw, you were getting you and Barb are getting half every month or every quarter of what you should be getting. That's a red flag. That's the red
I
flag.
understand that part.
We're trying to run the white flag up and figure out how to do it.
And if some people don't agree with it, doesn't mean we won't go ahead with it.
I guess that was one of my questions. What do you do if that happens?
I
I-
would really want to hear what the attorney has
I
to
mean,
say
I think
because
we have to have a discussion with the board as to the risks with in either case. If you move forward, people don't sign up. If you don't move forward, if people don't sign up, if people do sign up, I think that's.
You know, if 8 or 9 out of the 11 come back and say, okay, this is good. Okay, and there's a couple holding out. Okay, we have to be able to make a so-called decision for them. Majority wins type of deal, if that's what you want to call it. But, it all comes back to what I mentioned a few minutes ago, which
I
I
think-
know they won't.
I think we've had Colleen, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we've had a couple people that haven't responded to anything on this issue, right?
And that could be due to age, health reasons, or anything
what's
else.
that cop?
We have numerous people that haven't responded.
So, but yeah, we have reached out. We made an attempt. We reached out. Yeah, exactly. We're trying here. It's not like we're not.
I think it's basically, they just don't understand what's going on.
Yeah,
Well, be that,
Personally, I think what
be
you
to their
brought up is a
advantage.
fair resolution, if I understand you correct. I think it's fair.
thank you, Bob.
Would it
It's
behoove
been a
us?
long time coming.
Would it behoove us to get on the phone and try to get a hold of them? Maybe, I don't know, do the extra step. Sometimes you gotta do the extra step. I don't know. Just
The whole thing is.
shooting ideas out there. I don't know.
We need a
Yeah.
signature on something.
Yes. But to inform them that this is coming and they should look at it.
I think if it were possible to just go ahead and do this without asking them to sign off, I think that it would go through, there would be no problem. But I'm just afraid that once you ask them to sign off, they're gonna say, hey, wait a minute, what am I signing off on? Because they get
It's
confused.
a valid point. I can see that happening.
That's my only point.
well, we can ask them to come
Kara,
in
what do
to
you think?
explain it to them, or we can ask them to give Colleen a call and she can explain it. or-
In other words, refer back to the book.
You know what, Bob?
We can do what we want to do.
And I hate to be negative towards you, but what you
I
just
don't know if
suggested
that's
is the
that
exact thing that
conversation.
happened to you. And you, for you to say that, it's almost, you're playing both sides of the
Yeah,
fence.
you're probably right.
And that's wrong. You want to not tell people what's
I'm
going
just
on. That's
trying
why
to
they got
avoid-
screwed in the
trying to
first
avoid
place.
confusion, that's all.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. I agree with it, Mike. I agree with it. We just said we have to keep the scope of that. We don't want to, again, two wrongs, make another mistake.
But my problem is you can't send them a letter because as I showed you here, we have 5 or 6 letters saying it's happened. Nobody ever complained about it. I don't want that. We have to give them each one a call or ask them to come in and get it explained at their convenience. Some of the people that live too far away.
Send it out, receipt requested. And do it that way if we have to.
Maybe, sir.
Kara, could you draft that up? That,
Yeah, we could, but I would.
that's not to say we'll send it. I
Yeah,
agree. We should have a little
we
sit
can-
down.
We can do that. I would recommend that the board and I or Mike or whoever have a attorney-client privilege discussion so that we can advise you as to what we think the pros and cons are of either one of these options before you send out anything.
I agree. Absolutely.
Risk assessment.
Soon?
I mean, I can stick around if you
Yeah,
want.
well,
You can
that's what I was
adjourn
just
on
gonna
the-
ask. You
You can
spend
adjourn on
another
the
half hour,
regular meeting
We'll
and
get out of the
and have an
meeting and have.
attorney-client privilege
right.
session that's not open to the
Yeah,
public.
yeah.
I got that.
All right,
Listen, I got
you
time.
All
We're
right,
here to get
so
it
we'll
done.
do it. Now, get it over with.
I'd rather get it over with
Yeah,
and
me too.
get
All right,
this
do it.
thing.
Do we
Behind
make
it.
some kind of motion or something?
Can I
I'll
clarify
make,
something?
hold it, hold
before
it,
wait,
we
wait,
go
hold it,
on?
Miss Lori
Wait a
wants to talk.
I just, for my notes, I just want to make sure I have this right. You're going to continue to pay the Part B in Humana plus $75 that would cover what's been deducted over the years, possibly.
Could help, yeah.
The ones that are not on Humana must get on the Humana or get their own insurance, which would not be paid for by the time.
That is correct.
That's
Okay.
correct.
No, that covers the ones that aren't on the plan now, is that what that?
That they have to cut on the plan.
Can I also
Or they won't
point
be
out that
reimbursed.
You were saying $250 a month. And for the people that are $204 a month, that's going to, if you're saying you're paying an additional 75, you're bringing that up to 280.
So it'd be different for each person.
This-
So that's the way this
I don't
reads.
think it should be different. I think everybody should get the same.
Everybody's gonna get $75, but their Part B costs.
Good point.
There's different numbers for each person. You can't give one 75 and one 52.
No, that's what I'm saying, but they're gonna pay the extra whatever in more or less. Some will be less, some will be more. That's not.
Why don't we just say?
The
we'll
only
pay
thing we can do,
250?
Colleen, on something like that, if you
$250.
think about it, if they refuse it
Well,
or
that's
can't
enough.
or whatever.
All right, let's, hold on.
No, 250. Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. Let's talk to her about how.
Pretty much tell you that too, but I'm just saying that for the
I
ones
have
that
to
have
go.
not
take
sent
this
documentation, I think from what I see, we should say we're going to pay them the base rate.
170,
Well, that's
Whatever it
this
is.
year's base rate.
yeah.
Yes,
Yes, to be prorated.
right. I mean,
Very
and
easily figure whether they're paying the base rate now or not.
So then something has to be added about documentation.
right, but I can't, I mean, if we're going to require documentation from the board and I know what their rate was 2 years ago, but they don't send me new documentation, I can't assume that, okay, now their rate is this, even though they didn't send me documentation. We're going to either go with documented rate or with the base rate.
I think if they don't send it-
Yeah, I think you just you're gonna have to make a statement that if they don't let you know by the date required, then
Then it's the
base rate.
That has been a problem.
Getting the doc-
Lori, can you and Colleen stay for a few more minutes?
This is really progress.
I
Yeah.
can, I don't know about
This is
some,
the
but
closest
yes,
thing we've
we
been.
could.
Getting this finished up, right, Bob? I said, this is about as close as we've been able to get to a decision.
Mike's got a point. We probably don't need
Yeah.
you.
You don't take minutes to do that,
No.
right?
I
Keep
don't
the
have
faith.
any.
Let's keep
It's
the
just a
faith.
consultation.
Are you all set, Lori?
I'm fine. I just wanted to clarify that's what.
Well,
my
you had the
notes
floor,
were-
young lady. I want to make
That
sure
it?
you got all your notes.
What do we have to do? to
Kara, you're
slip
all set
into-
right this minute?
is this
I make a
executive
motion, we
session? Is that
adjourn.
what we call it?
It's not executive session, it's a
Go
closed
into it.
meeting and it's a closed session of attorney-client privilege.
Yeah.
Okay.
And go to exec.
I know he's
No,
not
it's
here,
not.
but I make a motion, we adjourn.
It's
I
not.
already just
exec-
did that.
You did that,
but it wasn't
$75
complete. She was
in
saying we-
addition to the Part B, is that correct?
What's that, Bob?
The $75 is in addition to.
That's what was proposed.
It's not done deal yet, but
No,
that's
but I
what
mean,
they're
that's
saying,
in- That's in town.
Yes.
Whatever your part B is plus
plus 75.
is what they're talking right now. right?
That's up in the air, but that's the idea. Okay, so we have a motion to adjourn.
I second
Yes.
To go into a confidential attorney consultation and not do any business when we
No
come back
business.
out.
And I second that.
Who made the motion, please?
Paul,
I
Paul
did.
Paul,
And Tim.
Ladies and
Yes.
gentlemen, thank
All
you
in
for
favor?
coming.
Yeah, thank you.
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
See you later.
You got an
Thanks,
aye?
Huh?
All,
Thank you.
everybody was in favor, right?
All in favor?